Borelli?
Present.
Ms. Ainello?
Present.
Mr. Martino? Ms. Mahoney?
Here.
Mr. Shear?
Here.
Ms. Torbeck?
Present.
Mr. Verso?
Here.
Ms. Unrell?
Here. Mr. President, pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Adequate notice of this meeting has been sent to all members of the Board of Education and to the Bergen Record in accordance with the provisions of the Open Public Meetings Act, Chapter 231, 1975. At this time, we have a superintendent's report.
I'll save most of my report for Wednesday's meeting, but just to note, Wednesday we will have Mrs. Jenkins will be presenting on the NJGPA test results, and Mrs. DeBonis will be presenting on the Access for All testing.
Thank you. Business Administrator.
I know I have a change later in the meeting. We're going to go to facility updates, project updates, so if you have any questions, let me know about them. And I think that was it for now.
Okay. I'd like to go through the agenda items under board action items. B2324.1 to B2324.6. Is there any discussion, questions, comments?
Yes, if I may.
Yes, you may.
The bilingual waiver is mandated, that is 2324.2. Point 3, that is a revised district calendar. I spoke to the mayor today, and they got approval from the county to change the voting location from the middle school, high school to their new municipal complex. So that means what we're going to do is, starting this November, the first election day we have, we're able to host a professional development day for our staff, which means that instead of our last day being on a Friday in June, our last day is going to be moved up to a Thursday. And that one half-day PD that was in March we removed. So it is a revised calendar, and thank the township for reaching out to the county to get that approved. So moving forward, this middle school, high school will not be a voting location. The voting location for this district will be at the municipal complex. The professional development plan that's linked, point 4, that is guided from our goals that I shared with the board tonight. And the board will most likely be approving our district goals and their board goals at Wednesday's meeting. We met with Matt Lee, the New Jersey School Board representative, and we completed those before this meeting. And the mentoring plan is also mandated. That is what our district uses to guide all of our new staff and the rules and their monthly meetings that we host.
If I may, it's only the high school that there is going to vote at town hall?
Correct, for
Not
now.
all the schools?
I believe it would there was a couple things in place, just having the space to accommodate all of the community members. And then there was also something that I don't have confirmed yet, but you have to be a certain distance from the district in order to vote there. So I don't have that confirmed yet, but there was a couple different issues like that. I believe this district is the largest one, so that does take a lot of the volume away from here and moves it over to the municipal.
Thank you. Anyone else? Comments, questions?
So the kids will be in school that day or not? Or just
No, because of the other schools, Washington votes, Long School has voting, and Smith School has voting, so we wouldn't be able to open up all the schools, so the students will be off that day.
Okay.
Anyone else? Okay, moving right along, education and curriculum. E2324.1 to E2324.6. Any questions or comments?
If I may.
Yes.
The field trips, you'll see that we have 2 of our music trips that they know that they are going to go on this school year, so that was included, so I commend them for that, because that's big, so thank you.
As we do.
Our new staff orientation, we are doing the community bus tour again this year, so the leadership team is looking forward to hosting that. And then our outdoor hiking club, that's their first hike, and they will be moving forward. The goal is to have, we have some time, one of those first days of school, for our staff to input any field trips that they know that they're going to go on this school year.
Okay.
And then the point 3 is the deviation to curriculum that Last year, we started our aviation program. We had the aviation for one curriculum, so now we're moving on to the second course. Those are all addendums to the curriculum that's listed there to make sure it is a QSEC year, so we are making sure all of our curricula are up to par with all the requirements. And the service provider list, Chris Fontana did a great job. She went through our list and make sure it was updated, and that has all every time we send a student for a psychiatric or any type of evaluation, if they're on this list, it doesn't have to be reapproved again because the service provider is already approved.
Wonderful. Anyone else? Mr. Sheridan, you want to do budget amendments?
Any questions on budget? BF 23241 to BF 23247. Any questions, comments?
Just some items of note, I attached the bill lists to number 1 and 2 and 3 of the financial reports. For 7, we approved this back in May, but the state had added items, there's 3 items now, and they're approving the contract with Pontonian. We had number 1 in there, but 2 and 3, they weren't in there before they'll approve the final agreement with them, so I have to revise that on Wednesday and send it into them, and it all should be good.
Anyone else? Okay.
Professional development, so those conferences that you see there, really trying to encourage our leadership team to attend to stay current on all the topics. So you'll see the Autism New Jersey Conference, the NJPSA FEA Fall Conference. Some of our administrative assistants and secretarial staff, they're signing up for some Google PD workshops. And then with our threat assessment team, and we have a new school district school safety specialist, Mrs. Mansfield, so we are attending various school safety and security sessions also that we're going to be attending over the course of the year. And then the last one, number 14, under professional development, that is our new part-time HR person /HR/executive secretary, and that's the training that's offered by the NJASA and Human Resource Professionals. So you'll know that there's a series. So she's going to start attending those so we can start her training.
Anyone else? Mr. Raimondo?
Any questions on F2324-1?
Okay. Mrs. Iannello, policy?
Okay, any questions on policies 2324.1 through 4432? 2 apparently are abolished, and 1 is a mandate by the state, new policy for sick leave for teachers. Is it school staff? Just teachers. It's all in place. For the new,
Yeah, that's why,
Protected by tenure.
so it's all teachers,
all staff.
all staff?
Well, that's why 34, 32, and 44, 32. 34 is the teaching staff, 44 is the support staff, and all are going to go into 1642. Everything's going to follow 1642.01.
Thank you, Red. So the sick leave is the mandate, and that's why the first item you'll see, they are allowing boards, because this takes effect immediately, to approve these 2 policies and regs in 1 reading as opposed to 2 readings. The sick leave does take place, it does start immediately, and same for the school threat assessment teams that we have talked about. And then, yes, that's why those 2 were added today, to have those abolished, because they are all put into 1642.
Any questions?
Okay, so the MOA's on there, you got it linked up to the agenda, I just need, the three, committee members to sign the MOA. You already approved it, with the emails going back and forth with the attorney, so now I have it signed by the association, now you guys can sign it, we'll approve it on Wednesday.
Mrs. Torbeck?
Sorry. Sorry.
Okay, so personnel, P 2324, one, through P 2324.8. Any questions, concerns?
Question. On, here you go, it's all right. On, P2324.2, number 5. That teacher resigned last year.
I don't think it was last year, it might have been 2 years ago, and she is coming up. She
Oh.
requested the meeting with me.
Oh, okay.
Just for the board on dot 2 and dot 3, I have budget counts to fill in, that's not, break anything, just for note.
Yes, budget.
On 2324.3, 14 and 15, do we have prospects?
I am interviewing one tomorrow, and the other most likely tomorrow, Wednesday morning, so yes.
And one more that we would add, hopefully by Wednesday, Mrs. Violetti and I are trying to finish up the interviews for the pre-home position, and if all goes well, hopefully by maybe later tomorrow, or definitely early Wednesday, we could, inform you by email and add that item to the agenda.
And just so the board is aware, so we are still interviewing for middle school special ed science, our part-time art teacher here at the middle school, high school, our high school math teacher, our speech pathologist, 1 or 2 preschool teachers, and then a handful of paraprofessionals. And when I say like some of those were in the process, some of them are very close to being finalized, others we're still in the process of reaching out to people. So that's who we have left as a district to hire.
Anyone else? Does anyone have any committee reports? Liaison reports, I'll save mine for Wednesday. Anyone have a liaison report? Is there any old business? New business? Correspondence? All right, I'd like to, motion to open the meeting to the public.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Anyone wishing to speak? All right, I have to read a paragraph, just give me 1 minute. Residents are required to state their names, address, and subject matter. In the event it appears the public comment portion of the meeting may exceed 45 minutes, the presiding officer may limit each statement made by a participant to 5 minutes duration. Issues raised by members of the public may or may not be responded to by the board. All comments will be considered and a response will be forthcoming if and when appropriate. The board asks that members of the public be courteous and mindful of the rights of the other individuals when speaking. Specifically, comments regarding students and employees of the board are discouraged and will not be responded to by the board. Students and employees have specific legal rights afforded by the laws of New Jersey. The board bears no responsibility, nor will it be liable for any comments made by members of the public. Members of the public should consider their comments in light of the legal rights of those affected or identified in their comments and be aware that they are legally responsible and liable for their comments. Thank you. Ann?
Good evening, everybody. You guys hear me?
Yes.
My name is Amir Melvin. I'm a teacher on Grace High, childhood. this whole. Yeah, I condensed my presentation just for the sake of keeping time. I'm here on behalf of Gina and Gail, the Weinberg family. I just wanted to read a quick summary of what I wrote. Just a couple of facts about the late Howard Weinberg, about how he started the synergistics class at Saddlebrook High School. He provided technology needed for his classroom. He was a coordinator for the Saddlebrook Community Partnership Committee. He was an advisor for the Saddlebrook Community Partnership Club. He has dedicated a little over 2 decades as a Saddlebrook School District educator. He dedicated close to 40 years of his time just teaching and educating on and off the clock. When you do the math, he's dedicated over 300,000 hours educating in his lifetime, which is amazing. For him, teaching was truly a 24/7 hour job. And there was something you could always learn from him. I just wanted to talk about my personal experience really quickly. I attended Saddlebrook High School back in 2008 and graduated in 2012. I had the pleasure of meeting Mr. Weinberg in 2009. Little did I know my life was about to change forever. My first impression of him was, wow, this guy really reminds me of Tony Stark, also known as Iron Man. It made me laugh because ironically that has always been my favorite Marvel superhero. Luckily for me, I got to hang out with my superhero 5 days a week. I've always taken a liking to things that made me think, puzzles, riddles, anything strategy-based, and Mr. Weinberg picked up on that immediately. He helped nurture my special talents for that. He encouraged me to check out the CSI Club, which stands for Crime Scene Investigation. He had started, and I was absolutely blown away at the idea of being able to get a deeper look into the world of forensic science. I was an active student. I took part in chorus, year-round track, drama club, you name it. But the CSI Club was hands down the most impactful part of my entire high school career. Not because of the club itself, but because of the man who ran the program. Mr. Weinberg truly embodied what it meant to be an educator, and throughout my high school career, I had many ups and downs in my personal life. In late 2010 and early 2011, my mom had begun a long fight with cancer. Fast forward to today, I can proudly say she has won her fight, and she is still with us. I chose to stay with other family members during that time while she pursued her treatments so that I could stay in Saddlebrook. And it was very quickly, due to unforeseen circumstances, I actually ended up homeless. And I had to relocate to a transitional living program for young adults. It was an extremely challenging time for me in my personal life. I didn't grow up having a traditional relationship or the support from my biological father. I looked up to, upstanding male figures in my life, like uncle or my grandfather. But little did I know, Mr. Weinberg would set the gold standard of what a father should be. I had immense respect for Mr. Weinberg because he saw past my obstacles and he saw the man that I could be, that I could overcome anything. He wasn't just an educator. He was a mentor, a counselor, an advisor, a teacher, a friend, and for me, the closest thing I've ever had to a father. I graduated in 2012. As that time for graduation came closer, my heart began to sadden. For a moment, I thought, no more high school, no more CSI club. But fate would have it that my time with Mr. Weinberg was far from over. From time to time, I would see him driving around town, kind of looking like a celebrity, blasting his music, eating his bagels. And one day he stopped and he's like, "What do you do for work?" And I was like, "I pretty much do everything, you name it, I can do it all." And so he put me to the test. He taught me how to, do some carpentry work and how to build. And it was really nice to kind of have that mentor, and the student, be the student again, essentially, after leaving school. When he started to experience his medical complications, it was something that scared me at first because who wants to see their superhero get hurt? But after the initial shock came a deep, profound respect for Mr. Weinberg like never before. I got to watch my superhero overcome so many obstacles with a smile on his face, no matter how ugly, no matter how scary, no matter how impossible the situation may have seemed. Mr. Weinberg overcame it every single time. I'm not a very emotional person, don't get me wrong, but I'm very good at expressing my feelings. And I'm not usually the one to get rattled very easy, but when Mr. Weinberg, and he knew that about me, but during my high and low points in life, when the time came to say my final farewell to Mr. Weinberg, my strength was tested like never before. As I got close to the hospital, I saw Gina, and once I arrived at the hospital, I saw his amazing wife, Gina, and I immediately embraced raised her. I knew that I needed to be strong for her. And I met Mr. Weinberg's sister, who clearly shares the same heart as him. Such a warm and beautiful embrace. I'm just gonna fast forward a little bit. I got down to our last conversation, and what stood out to me was that, he was always a jokester, and so during those moments, he told jokes, well, I told jokes, and I responded for him, and it was the most beautiful thing ever. And while I held his hand, it was something that stood out to me. That same hand that I held was the same hand that grabbed mine and helped me up when I fell. It was the same hand that continued to push me when I was tempted to give up. It was the same hand that never gave up on me. And I believe that renaming the Saddlebrook High School after Howard Weinberg is something that his dedication to the craft of education speaks for in and of itself. Because he never stopped learning, and he knew that that was the only way to teach. You have to be adaptive, creative, intelligent, consistent, passionate, and loving. And to be a teacher, I believe that Mr. Weinberg was all those things and more. So naming a school after him would be setting a template of what education is about, extending that hand to the future generations to come, extending that hand to push, pull, and lift our kids through encouragement into being the best version of themselves. That is what the Howard Weinberg High School Middle School would represent in this amazing time in Saddlebrook, if you were so to choose to. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And that was beautiful.
Tom Savannah, 128 Union Avenue, Southbrook. I want to second what our previous speaker said. I also was a student of the late Mr. Weinberg, just dedicated to the community. I also was privileged to work alongside him. He was the coordinator of the Southbrook Community Partnership. So I do agree that something should be named after him, whether it's a school or a room or something. I do want to also speak about going off the community. The Mayor's Youth Group, we're looking for new members, as we always do. Anybody entering grades 4 through 12, and as of September 2023, we're looking to have another meeting in September sometime to hopefully elect new officers. Also, we're helping out with this Talbot Township picnic, which is this Saturday. Hopefully it won't rain, but if it rains, it'll be Sunday morning. Sunday from 12 to 4. So I just want to share that our Mayor's Youth Group is looking for new members. We have a fine group of young people who serve in the Mayor's Youth Group. As a matter of fact, we had the Junior Police Academy last week. Many of our youth group members were a part of that. So it just goes to show you what we have in the Mayor's Youth Group. The only other thing I want to discuss tonight, I read our township history book many times, written by the late Mr. Wadsdake, many times. It never gets old. As a matter of fact, next year is going to be the 100th anniversary of Washington School. In 1924, they placed a cornerstone for the building, so I just wanted to mention that to the whole board tonight, and maybe we consider doing some kind of centennial celebration for Washington School. It's got a lot of history. It's been added on over the years, and there's great students come through that school. So I just wanted to share that with you tonight. And I also was one of the students in that school from pre-K to first grade, 99, and then I left in 2003. Thank you all. Have a good night.
Thank you, Tom. Anyone else? Yes. Seeing how there's none, motion to close the meeting to the public?
Motion.
Second?